Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 72nd chapter, texts 8 through 10. The two texts have no purport. So text number 8. Vishinam Pitri Devanam Suhidam Apina Prabho Sarvisham Api Bhutanam Ipsita Kraturadayam Vishinam Pitri Devanam Suhridam apina prabho Sarvisham api bhutanam Ipsita karturadayam Shinam pitri devanam Suhridam apina prabho Sarvisham api bhutanam Ipsita Katuradayam. Rama Pidivanam. Rama Pidutanam. Vaishnavis. Vishinam Pitridevanam Vidam Apidavivo Vishinam for the sages, the three departed forefathers, Devanam and demigods, Suhridam for the friends, Api also, Na our, Prabhu, O Master, Sarvesham for all, Api as well, Bhutanam living beings, Ipsita desirable, Kratu of major Vedic sacrifices, Arat king, Ayam this. Translation: Indeed, my Lord, for the great sages, the forefathers, and the demigods, for our well-wishing friends, and indeed for all living beings, the performance of this king of Vedic sacrifices is desirable. Everyone can repeat. Indeed, my Lord, for the great sages, the forefathers, and the demigods, for our well-wishing friends, and indeed, for all living beings, the performance of this king of Vedic sacrifices is desirable. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vichaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So just a few comments on this verse before we go to the next verse. First of all, Krishna is speaking, but he says, Prabhu, oh my Lord. No. He's calling Yudhishthira my Lord. No. Showing that the respect that exists in Vedic culture, so much culture that even a Kshatriya would not fight with another Kshatriya unless he was equally armed or a good opponent. Therefore, Banasura was very frustrated because he couldn't even try to fight with anyone, because being a Kshatriya, even though he was Asura, still he followed Vedic principles, just like this chapter is about Jarasandha. So Jarasandha is defeated because he follows Vedic culture and he has so much respect for the Brahman. Of course, when he saw Arjuna, Krishna, and Bhima, like big and strong, with marks of bow. If one shoots a bow very often, you get marks on the arm. So they had big, strong marks, wounds, Most Brahmins are not fighting like that. So he suspected something was wrong. But because they came as Brahmins, he had to respect his promise to entertain them. So this is Krishna. When Sudam Brahma comes to Dwarka, Krishna respects him. When Narada Muni appears, Krishna also offers him respect to show. So the reason I'm mentioning this is how much more should we conduct ourselves in an ideal way? If Krishna conducts himself in an ideal way, and he, of course, not in Vrindavan, not so ideal according to Vedic principles, which was even confusing for Parikshit Maharaj. But still, in Dwarka and Mathura, he conducted himself. He does extraordinary things, but still, he conducts himself in such a way that is exemplary. Of course, here we have Sitaram. Sitaram is the Lord showing how one should conduct oneself, how one should marry, how one should respect. So the Lord himself takes this trouble because we are so troubled. We are so troubled by the modes of nature that the Lord himself has to act like an ordinary person following Vedic rituals. When the Shvatashvatara Upanishad says, Natasya karanam karanam cha vidyate, the Lord has nothing to do. He has no rules to follow. No one can oblige him to do anything. But still, he obeys. So then Krishna is saying in this verse, this is beneficial for everyone. In previous verses, he mentions, because the question comes up, is Krishna being partial to the Pandavas? Is Krishna being partial to Yudhishthira? No. Because samaham sarvabhutanam namidvashasti na priyaha. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad-gita, I'm not partial to anyone. But he does say that if someone worships him, he's not partial because anybody can worship him. No, demons can also worship him. Prasad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, they're demons. No, they worship him. Vritrasura, he was a demon. He worshipped him. So if you worship him, he will favor you. So it's not discrimination because anyone can worship him. And of course, they have to worship him with love. A little detail. He says with love, Chamam Bhaktya. There must be bhakti. If someone worships me or relates to me in bhakti, I will reciprocate. Yetamam prabandhate tam tataiva bhajamyaham. Krishna. So, this is beneficial for everyone. In the very beginning of the Bhagavatam, it says that because this is coming from Krishna. So it says anything related to Krishna. Munaya sadhu prishto ham bhavadbir lokamangalam yat krita Krishna samprashno. Krishna samprashna. Any questions that are related to Krishna are beneficial, lokamangalam, for all living entities. Even if an animal happens to hear, just like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived in Jagannath Puri and the devotees arrived after him, there was one dog that had heard from the devotees. He was associating with the devotees. We see this sometimes. You're walking, a dog will follow you. So the devotees were chanting. The dog became enlivened. And the dog followed the devotees. Then the dog became so enlivened, he left the association of the devotees and went ahead of them. And then when the devotees arrived, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invited them, he took them for prasadam, and everyone saw the dog sitting at the end of the line. He realized, I'm a dog, I'm in the last position. No, he would be the last one to get the ghee lamp. No. So, and then Lord Chaitanya threw him a piece of coconut, and the dog caught it, and ate it, and his body fell dead, and his four-armed form ascended to Vaikuntha. So, questions about Krishna. So anything related to Krishna, Srila Prabhupada explains in that purport that everyone is asking questions. And then Prabhupada said in one lecture on that particular verse, he said, if you see some businessmen in the marketplace, you can understand they are not speaking about Krishna. They may be some devotee businessmen, maybe, but generally speaking, even I see many home programs, the ladies will be listening and the men will be off in some corner talking about business, even during the program or the class or something. So, Srila Prabhupada says that everyone is interested in Krishna, but most people are asking about other things because they don't understand who is Krishna. They want Krishna to be their order supplier. So, everyone's benefited. Later on in the Bhagavatam, the same thing. Shukadeva Goswami, he begins his narration, Vadiyan Eshate Prashna, that this is this question you're asking is not only good, it is worshipable. You know? Krito hika lokam nripa. You know? It is beneficial for all living beings. And you know, that Atmavit Samatam Bhumsam. This is not just my opinion. Shukadeva Goswami begins the Bhagavatam by saying, this is not my opinion. I'm not giving some, no. It is confirmed by authorized sages that these questions, what I'm about to do, is totally authorized, because what you're doing and what I'm going to do in response, you're asking questions about Krishna. This is the most worshipable, wonderful thing that can happen, because it is about Krishna. Therefore it is, and Shrota Videshu Yaparaha. This is the highest form of hearing. That you can't hear anything better. And therefore Krishna tells Arjuna, he says, Bhuyam eva mahabaho, Shrinu me paranam vachaha. Again, Arjuna, I'm speaking to you something that's even more confidential. Tatteham priyamanaya. Why? Because you're very dear to me. Why does Krishna call Yudhishthira? He said, you're very dear, you're my Lord. Because when a devotee is dear to him, then he gives everything to that devotee. And then he says, I'm speaking this, bhakshami, hitakamyaya. I'm speaking this for your benefit, not for my benefit. Generally, everything we do in this world is for our benefit. Well, as long as we're conditioned souls, whatever we do is for our benefit. But in this case, it is for the benefit of Krishna. When he speaks, or when he asks someone to worship, someone may think Krishna's puffed up. He wants to be worshipped. Just this typical overlording God. But no, he wants us to worship him because it will be beneficial for us. It's not beneficial for him. He has Radharani, Sudam, Sridam, all worshiping him, all giving everything to him. He has so many pure devotees in the universe. Why does he need to come and ask for our service? Even if somebody puts a sign, help wanted, wants some employee, even then they will evaluate their qualification. So Krishna is not needing some assistance. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he's Atmaram. He doesn't need anybody. He's self-satisfied. He doesn't even need the service of anyone, but he wants it. It is his desire, and therefore it is beneficial. So, anything about Krishna, anything related to Krishna, one may say, well, this is Rajasuya sacrifice. What does it have to do with Krishna? Because Yudhishthira will ask Krishna to preside. It was already obvious to the Pandavas. It was obvious to, Bhishma. It was obvious to practically everyone except Shishupal and Duryodhana and a few others of that group that Krishna should preside. Even when Bhishma was elected, he was chosen. Why was he chosen? He was chosen by those who were envious of Krishna. But he said, no, it should be Krishna. Because Krishna walked away from the rasa dance. If I would have been there as the object of the dance, I would not have been able to walk away. So, even though he was brahmachari, because that's why he was chosen. He was a brahmachari. But, of course, in one Gopal Tapani Upanishad, Krishna also becomes the brahmachari. That's a long story, so that's for another time. So these are some points on the benefit this king of Vedic sacrifices, it says. No, it's not just an ordinary sacrifice. It is the king of all sacrifices. So, we'll read the next verse. Is it up? So everyone can just repeat it along with me. Vijitya nipatim sarvan kritvaja jagatim vashe sambritya sarvabhagaran aharasva mahakatum. Translation. First conquer all kings, bring the earth under your control, and collect all the required paraphernalia. Then execute this great sacrifice. So, this is the duty of a king. The duty of a king is to conquer. But why does he conquer? For the benefit of everyone. No. He conquers. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj conquered Kali. No. Why did he conquer Kali? Because he was not beneficial for everyone. So a king has to do this. This element in society, the Kshatriya, has to be there. As long as there are conditioned souls, just like there are no Kshatriyas in Goloka Vrindavan. No need. No Kshatriyas in Vaikuntha. Although the Lord has weapons, but he has weapons because of the material world, not because of the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, everyone is happy serving. But in the material world, everyone is happy serving their senses. And this is the object of the next verse, which has a nice purport. So, we can repeat this verse all together. Ete te bhartaro raja lokan palam shasambhava chitosmyat mavata teham durjayo yo kritatmavi. Translation and purport. These brothers of yours, O king, have taken birth as partial expansions of the demigods ruling various planets. And you are so self-controlled that you have conquered even me, who am unconquerable for those who cannot control their senses. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna, it is said that Bhima was born of the demigod Vayu and that Arjuna was born of the demigod Indra, whereas King Yudhishthira himself was born of the demigod Yamaraj. Srila Prabhupada goes on to state, Lord Krishna told King Yudhishthira that he becomes conquered by the love of one who has conquered his senses. One who has not conquered his senses cannot conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the secret of devotional service. Several points here. Actually, Krishna is pointing to the Pandavas. He's saying, these brothers of yours, he's pointing. He's emphasizing, you are very great. But he's also emphasizing, you are the main person. You are the king. You are the one I have chosen to be the emperor. Now these brothers of yours, I've already said, they can go out and conquer. But he says, they are not ordinary people. They are actually sons of demigods. But Jiva Goswami says, actually the demigods are their sons because they are Krishna's personal associates. Therefore, the demigods who, for the sake of pastime, they caused these children to appear. It was actually they caused the demigods to appear. The demigods will worship great devotees like the Pandavas. except for maybe Indra. He has a problem even with Krishna, what to speak of the Pandavas. But the demigods are very happy to worship the devotees, although sometimes they make a mistake. Just like when Gajendra was praying to Krishna, so the demigods, they were sarcastically laughing. You're just an elephant. You think Krishna doesn't even answer our prayers sometimes. We have to go to Lord Brahma, make a whole procession, and go to the milk ocean, and come to Svetadweep, and then Lord Brahma will transmit our prayer, and we have to wait. We don't even get to see the Lord. And you think you're an elephant just because you're being attacked by a crocodile, that you can get the Lord's personal darshan? You're a very foolish elephant. And so, but then they looked and they saw Lord Vishnu coming. And they said, uh-oh, we made a mistake. So they followed Vishnu, and immediately when he arrived, they offered prayers, hoping to mitigate their offense against Gajendra. So we should always be very careful not to criticize devotees, even though a devotee may have some defects. We can criticize a bad action, but we don't know if that devotee is under the modes of nature, or maybe he's acting under Yoga Maya. Maybe he's a pure devotee. So, of course, if he's, in the bar drinking, then we may fairly logically deduce that he's in Maya, But sometimes a devotee will act in such a way that's not so appropriate, but they may be empowered by Krishna. Actually, everyone is empowered by Krishna, ultimately. But because Maya is Krishna's energy. So people I think I mentioned before here that Srila Prabhupada said Maya has two pure devotees, the scientists and the philosophers. Two types of pure devotees. Not all scientists. We have Rasa Raj Prabhu, other devotees, but most scientists, most philosophers. So this is one point here in this purport. Although Srila Prabhupada does say in the Krishna book that yes, they are the sons. Technically, they are the son, but philosophically, they are greater. Just like we were discussing yesterday, that Raghunandan, although he was Mukunda's son, his devotion for Krishna was so great that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, who is the son and who is the father? And Mukunda said, he is the father. My son, Raghunandan, he is the father. I am the son. He's a greater devotee than me. So as devotees, we should be like that. We should not think, oh, I've been around for more years than this person. No, they brought the ghee lamp to me first. Therefore, everyone should see who I am. Number one ghee lamp candidate. Therefore, everyone should bow to me. So we must avoid this mentality. I call it SDO, that senior devotee, ODS, older devotee syndrome. Now I'm an older devotee. Everyone must be very respectful to me. Of course, if we have a position, like someone has a position in the temple, then yes, you have to exert your authority. But even then, we're dealing with Vaishnavas. We're not dealing with, street sweepers. So, although a devotee is happy to be a street sweeper also, especially for Lord Jagannath, even the Lord himself sometimes serves himself. And but the Parudra, he was very anxious. So a devotee can also be a street sweeper. Actually, this happened that Purushottam Dev, the father of Prataparudra, he went to Kanchipuram and he saw the beautiful daughter of the king. And he said, I want to marry her. The king said, yes, you're a king. No, good marriage. Then he said, I will send my minister to make arrangements. So the minister arrived the day before Rath-yatra. So the next day he went to see the king, and the king said, I'm just going to attend the festival, then I'll come and speak with you. So he was watching from the balcony, and then he looked and he saw the king sweeping in front of the cart. He immediately left. He went back to Kanchipuram and said, I just want to let you know, this king, he's not really a king, he's a street sweeper. Called off the marriage. Then, but the Purushottam Dev challenged the king for battle. No, you promise me? No. So, and the king, Kanchipuram, said, all right, I'll accept. If you win, then I will send my deity of Ganesh to your kingdom. But if I win, then you have to send your deities to my kingdom, Jagannath. So, so Purushottam Dev, a Kshatriya never turns down a challenge. But he was very concerned. And he went and he prayed to Lord Jagannath. I said, personally, I don't care if I'm defeated or not. But my Lord, I cannot allow you to go there. And Jagannath said, don't worry. And so they went to fight. On the way, Purushottam Dev, there was a big fire. It destroyed practically his whole army. So he's thinking, what am I going to do? Lord Jagannath will be taken out, I will go to hell for 10 million lifetimes. And so, but Lord Jagannath spoke to him and said, don't worry, everything will be arranged. So his faith, he started on his way to the battle. And Jagannath and Baladev, they took human forms and rode on 2 horses. And they were going on the way to the battle. And so Purushottam was concerned. But on the way, they met one lady selling milk products. And they said, Krishna and Balaram, they like milk. So they said, give us your milk. They drank it. She said, pay me. I said, we don't have any money. No. We're on our way to battle. We have no money. No. I said, well, yeah, this is my livelihood. If you don't pay me, she didn't realize who they were. Then how will I survive? I just have enough to buy milk for tomorrow when I sell everything. And so Jagannath took his ring. He said, there's a king coming. He has plenty of wealth. Purushottam, give him this ring and tell him, you don't have to tell him anything. Just give him this ring and tell him to pay you. So Purushottam Dev came and the lady ran up to him, pay me, king. Who are you? He said, one of your soldiers told me that you would pay me. My soldiers are all behind me. No. He gave me this. He said to give to you. He saw Lord Jagannath's ring. Immediately he offered obeisance to the lady. He paid her 10 times more than she wanted, and he gave her 5 villages. No. Because he understood this was Jagannath telling him, I will not fail you. Namre bhakta pranashati. No, I will never let my devotee perish. And then Krishna and Balaram arrived on the battle. They defeated the whole army. And Purushottam arrived ready for battle, and the king of Kanchipuram offered his obeisances, said, "Here is my Ganesh deity, you take it." And so the point is that that whatever a devotee can accept, whatever position necessary, and a devotee before the Lord is, as Lord Chaitanya prays to Lord Jagannath, Dasa Dasa Anudasa, servant of the Supreme. So here it says, let me check the time here. Here it says that Krishna, he's saying that Yudhishthira, you go ahead. All of you, you're so self-controlled. Otherwise, you control your senses because your senses are controlled by Rishikesh. You control your senses. You are in charge of your senses. And therefore, Yoga Yukta Vishuddhatma Savindriya Jitendritaha. A devotee is Jitendritaha, and therefore conquers his senses, and therefore he can never be affected. Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. He can never, because he is totally in control of everything. And therefore, a devotee, as it says in the beginning of Nectar of Instruction, that Vachu Vegam Manasa Koda Vegam, that a devotee controls his speech, his mind, his anger, Jiva Vegam Udarapasta Vegam, his eating, his stomach, his genital, everything is under control. Then Itan Vegan Yo Vishaheta Dhira. This makes a devotee is very serious about these things. And therefore, Sarvam, Api Mam, Prittivim Nashishat. That devotee who can control his senses, his mind, his anger, etc., is capable of going anywhere and speaking about Krishna. Anywhere. And people will follow him. Also, a very important message in that verse is that if you want people to follow you in Krishna consciousness, it is by inspiration, not by control. You can't control people in this movement. You control people by paying them. So if you want, if you're temple president and you want to control everyone, you pay everyone, and then they have to obey. But if you want to control the devotees, then you have to inspire them. And the greatest inspiration is one's own conduct. Even when Srila Prabhupada first came, he didn't speak that much. He would only speak for 5 or 10 minutes, mostly just doing kirtan. But because the devotees saw this Swami from India is coming, he's cooking for us. Even they would say, the devotees would say that even after they were doing all kinds of nonsense, let's go to the Swami and get a hot meal. That's how they saw Srila Prabhupada. He was so humble. Of course, if somebody said that to us, can you give me a hot meal? Well, of course, we have food for life, but no, we're not so humble that we would just go and cook for anyone that came to us. But Srila Prabhupada, he was so humble. One time Srila Prabhupada was in the airport, and so there was, in those days you could go up to the airplane. All the devotees would go. Srila Prabhupada was waiting for the airplane. And so the devotees were standing up, and the security people said, can you have your people sit down? Srila Prabhupada was standing and chanting japa. And because there's a group of people coming. So one devotee said, all ISKCON devotees, please sit down. Prabhupada sat down. First one to sit down. So humble. So, in any case, it says here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is speaking, so that one has to be able to conquer the senses. Rupa Goswami says that kamarina katina katita punita adidesha chesham jatamai na karuna natrapa nopashanti. He says, I have been so foolish that I have become a slave to my senses. They completely control me. That na karuna, and they have no mercy. 24 hours a day demanding. Even when you're sleeping, the senses are demanding. Always. You wake up, they're demanding. Feed me, bathe me, do this, do that. So, natrapa, they have no shame. They will demand, sometimes people, they take advantage of you, they feel bad about it. But the senses will never feel bad. And no pashanti. And they will never leave you alone. But, he says, something happened. Tata Yarupati, that I met Yarupati, and sampaptam labda buddhis. My intelligence woke up, and then ayata sharanam sharanam abhayam niyung shrivatmadasye. He said, and by meeting Yarupati, in that meeting, I became, I surrendered to him. I became completely fearless. And now I have made him my Lord and Master. And now my senses are under control. So if we want to control the senses, then we depend on Rishikesh. We understand Krishna will take care of everything. He will control the senses. So this is the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So just to I also wanted to mention that Bhishma, he pointed out to the Pandavas how fortunate they are. Now Krishna is glorifying the Pandavas, but he glorified Krishna. He said, Yam manase matuleyam. That person who you call your cousin, or priyam sakyam. You call him your friend, your dear friend, suhitamam. You call him your benefactor, and akaro sachivam, your dutam, your messenger, and your counselor, and suridat, your well-wisher, atta saratim, and your chariot driver. You think he's all these things, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is how, otherwise, he was glorifying Krishna, but he was also glorifying the Pandavas. You have Krishna. Krishna is doing all these things for you. In the seventh, I just wanted to quote one quote which I never learned. It's a very beautiful quote from the seventh canto of the Bhagavatam. Very beautiful. The 10th chapter. Just such a nice quote. About the Pandavas. So, I won't read the Sanskrit, but Narada Muni continued, My dear Maharaj Yudhisthira, all of you, the Pandavas, are extremely fortunate, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, lives in your palace just like a human being. Now, it says Param Brahma, Manusha Lingam, appearing They say lives in your house like, but Manusha Lingam indicates he is subordinate to you. No, he is living in your house. Great saintly persons know this very well, and therefore they constantly visit your house. Why do they visit the Pandavas' house? Because the Pandavas are so great. Just like Raghupati Upadhyaya, when he was questioned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I forgot the verse now, but so he said, please speak something about Krishna. So he glorified Krishna, and then he said, how great is Krishna? He said, but personally, I don't worship Krishna. I worship Nanda Maharaj. Because Nanda Maharaj has the Param Brahma crawling around in his courtyard. Therefore, I worship Nanda Maharaj. In other words, he's instructing us that if we want to worship Krishna, we worship his devotee. Because his devotee is so great. So these are some indications on how one controls one's senses. And this doesn't mean you're just trying to force the senses to do something. You submit your senses to Krishna's service. Therefore, we are providing this facility. People can come here and they can engage their senses in seeing the deity, worshiping the deity, offering something to the deity, and coming and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, coming and doing some service, requesting the devotees, what service can I do? One service that everyone can do is distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. Doesn't matter, you can be a congregational member. You can have joined yesterday, or you can have not have joined. You just come on Sunday. But then I've been promoting this program. We can get our congregational devotees to distribute one book a week only. 52 books. I think almost any congregational devotee here, even most brahmacharis could afford 52 books in a year, just on their little devotee maintenance, something they get here and there. And then you distribute the 52 books and you get the contact of those people, or you give them your contact. And you say, please tell me what you think of the book. This is for the congregational devotee, not for brahmacharis. You have to distribute every day. So, and then the people respond. And out of the people that respond, you say, now you need Bhagavad-gita. This will explain all your questions will be answered in Bhagavad-gita. Then once they have Bhagavad-gita, you call them right in this period time between mid-March and Bhadra Purnima, and you say, if you really want to know the greatest benefit you can possibly get in life, you get this Srimad Bhagavatam, and then immediately all of your close friends, everyone you know, give them the highest benefit and give yourself the highest benefit by giving out these Bhagavatam before Bhadra Purnima. And so we can do this, it just takes one book a week and a little follow-up. So anyone can do this service, and you become, in this case, you become dear to Srila Prabhupada. And if you become dear to Srila Prabhupada, you will definitely become dear to Krishna. So this is just one program I've thought of that can help everyone become fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. Every congregational devotee can become fully engaged. Whenever you have time, you have to call one of these 52 people. Of course, you can give more than one. You can give one book a day. Then you have 365 people, shishas, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants us all to be guru. So the best way to be guru is distribute a book and get their contact, or you give them they will get in touch with you, and you will help them to go back home, back to God, as Partner Pradarshika Guru, maybe Shiksha Guru. Maybe you'll become their Diksha Guru. Also, that may happen. It's possible. So, the point is that this is why we have this temple. The temple is not just to be another temple in India. There are so many temples. What distinguishes us, we are engaging everyone in Krishna's service. So if we can do that, then Krishna will be very pleased with us. Srila Prabhupada will be very pleased. So these are some thoughts on this particular verse, or these verses. Any comments or questions? Yeah, just 1 minute.
Hare Krishna.
Microphone?
Maharaj here.
Oh, there's the question. I saw the hand here. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Maharaj, thank you very much. You were emphasizing that verse from Gita, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. And then you were mentioning that how proper conduct is very important and the primary thing for a leader. So I was thinking that I know that, but many times in practical situation, if I behave harshly with somebody, sometimes I chastise somebody, sometimes I am overeating. So many such situations, I gave a reason to myself that we should not expect, nobody should expect me to go against my nature. It's my nature. ठीक है, with time it will be all right. I shouldn't push myself, I shouldn't beat myself. It's all right to be little getting angry sometimes, little overeating sometimes, little oversleeping sometimes. So then how to balance, Maharaj? I feel that it's my nature, it's all right, with time it's okay. Don't take it seriously. So please help, Maharaj. Thank you.
We balance our time by doing what Krishna and his representatives tell us to do. No, that's how we balance our time. Meaning that our first priority is to follow the instructions of Shri Guru, our Shiksha Guru, our leader. No, that's first priority. And then we regulate our life through around that particular service. And so there are so many instructions on how to regulate one's life in Srila Prabhupada's books. But the starting point is the instructions we receive personally from whatever representative of the parampara that is in contact with us. And then everything else falls into place. Otherwise, it says here, in one of these verses, one point I was going to point out, but I forgot. It addresses Krishna as, maybe I saw an earlier verse. Anyway, it addresses Krishna as Rat. He's Rat. He is, Rat means independent, but here it means, therefore he's the supreme, because supreme means independent. So the orders and instructions that come down from parampara give us real independence, because we can be independent of the control of the senses. So the first priority is whatever instruction we get. And then after that, whatever, then we know how to put things into place. I mean, it's pretty obvious what we do in the morning. How do we regulate our life in the morning? Srila Prabhupada used Mangal Artik as a regulator. No. Although we should want to come, we should be anxious to come and take darshan. But he gave us Mangal Artik as a regulator. Actually, Srila Prabhupada started Mangal Artik because there was no Mangal Artik in the beginning of the movement. He started it so that the devotees would get up because they were getting up at 6 or 7 in the morning. So Prabhupada said, now we'll have Mangal Artik. And therefore everyone has to get up at 4, maximum 4. Hare Krishna. So, there's a question here. Here. Oh.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, in the last verse, it came that Krishna was saying to Yudhishthira Maharaj that since you are sense controlled, you are more dear to me. The last verse which came, purport it was, translation it was mentioned that Krishna is saying to Yudhishthira Maharaj, because you are sense controlled, you are very dear to me in that verse. So, can you please explain Maharaj that how self-controlled?
Which word are you speaking
This
about?
one, 10 number Maharaj, 7210, 107210.
Yes.
So it's written, and you are so self-controlled that you have conquered me.
Uh-huh.
So how sense-controlled can conquer Krishna?
So I'm sorry, which word? Which? Yeah. So which part of it? are you referring to? About him control about them being controlled by the Pandavas? Yes. That's mentioned by Jiva Goswami. That because the Pandavas are such great devotees that the demigods are controlled by them. Just like Prithu Maharaj. No? Prithu Maharaj, of course, he's an empowered Shaktivesh avatar. And he challenges the demigod. He says, I'm going to punish the earth. And if any demigod, he holds his bow up. If any demigod wants to challenge me, I'll take them on. So when someone is representing Krishna purely, they're greater than the demigod. That's the whole point. No? So it's not that the demigods took birth from them, but it's saying they took birth from them spiritually because such a great devotee.
This verse is told by Krishna. Krishna is telling that you will conquer even me. Me here indicates Krishna, right?
Because you control me, yes. Devotees control Krishna. The Pandavas control Krishna. No. That's the point. They control Krishna. Why? Because their senses are controlled. But not like yogis who simply sit, in the summertime in the middle of a fire or in the wintertime in a cold river. Not that kind of sense control. But they have their senses completely dedicated to Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Once upon a time, His Holiness Giriraj Swami has given Bhagavatam lecture in the temple room. And he said that we have to respect who is senior to us. If we do not show respect to the person who are senior to us, then Krishna will not appear before us. This is comment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One more question, then our time is up.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. You explained very nicely the pure devotees and Krishna's relationship. How Krishna is ready to do anything for devotees and devotees are ready to become anything for Krishna. In between, you have mentioned ghee lamp.
Priyamanaya. Okay.
So that is one thing I wanted to know.
No,
what
I
is
was just mentioning that our custom is that you take the ghee lamp to the oldest devotee. So, if you want to know who's in charge, you just follow the ghee lamp. No. Nothing esoteric there about the ghee. The ghee lamp is esoteric because actually offering the ghee lamp, that tradition comes from ancient times when there was no electricity. So the ghee lamp was offered like that. First, they showed the feet, then they showed the abdomen, then they showed the face of the Lord, and then they show the whole form of the Lord. That's why we offer the ghee lamp like that. You know, everything has a meaning.
So another question I had. So Kanchipuram king, he got defeated by Purushottam Dev. So the deities he had to supposed to surrender to give it to Purushottam Dev now. Which deities came from Kanchipuram to Jagannath Puri?
No, I was just making a little joke that you would know, you wouldn't know him because he was sweeping. You know, he was taking a humble position. So he might not get the ghee lamp first because he's sweeping. So he might get the last. No. Otherwise, the street sweeper would be the last person to get the ghee lamp. Right? If some street sweeper comes, they won't take it to him first, unless he happens to be Prataparudra or Purushottam Dev. You know. But, so that was my point, that him being seen as a street sweeper, the minister saw him, he's like the last one. He's a street sweeper. He's not a king. No. That was my point. Okay? Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.